Hello and welcome back, everyone, to the Too Skilled to Fail podcast. I have been doing this for the last year, recording and talking to people for the last year about what they're doing, their goals, their dreams, their ambitions. Everyone who is too skilled to fail, I offer you the opportunity to come onto the show and talk about what you do. Today, I have a really special guest. Today, I have Kenny Edwards. Kenny, whoop, whoop, whoop. I have Kenny Edwards here. He is a husband. He is a father. He is an entrepreneur, a multifaceted entrepreneur. And we're going to dig into his career and what he's been doing. But most importantly, I love the topic that we decided to talk about, which was also talking about men and vulnerability and what that looks like. And so we'll get into that as well. So stay tuned for more. All right. What up, Kenny?
What's up, T? Thank you for having me.
Yes.
It's been a long time coming.
You got some tough shoes to follow, as we know, right?
I saw.
Yeah, we'll flash back to that. But
the accomplishment for me of healing and meeting my husband, my best friend, and what that represents, because it's deeper than just, I have a great man, I'm married, and our family that we've built. That would be my greatest accomplishment, and it's because I've just worked on myself. I've gotten myself to a place where this is what gravitated to me. The universe brought this amazing man to me that, gosh, we have so much in common, and we're so opposite in the best ways.
We had to run it back and get the man's perspective. So we have Kenny here to talk about his perspective.
I'll do my best, fellas.
Yes. Listen.
The man spokesman.
And
for
ladies,
the day.
I'm asking all the questions.
Oh, well, I'm an open book, so.
Here we go. So like I said, you are a husband, you are a father, but you are a multifaceted entrepreneur working at, I don't know how many jobs careers you've been in and started, but I'd love for you to tell that story too. Tell me a little bit about yourself, but really it's telling the audience about you.
Yeah, born and raised in East Oakland, California, so home of the hustlers, And so, ironically, that's one of the things I had to unlearn was the hustle mindset, right? Where you're always just chasing a dollar and not really building a actual business or an actual company. So that's that's the journey I'm on now, where it's less transactional and more building out an infrastructure. I started off in janitorial. Now I'm in the podcast game with you. And just really excited about, how do you build a team of producers? There's so much that goes on behind the scenes that I didn't even realize that makes all of this, come to fruition.
Absolutely. Did you come from a family of entrepreneurs, or was this something like new to you?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I had an uncle who had an engineering company, and I would go to his house to play with my cousin, and I would see he would have his ledgers, he would have his clients' business cards, and I saw the lifestyle that they were living, but I didn't really know like what I was witnessing. My mom would she would try to start different companies as well. So I did have some examples, but I never saw a full blown like company that lasted, decades. But I did see some examples, and I definitely give credit to my mom, who showed me the spirit of entrepreneurship. She would, I would see her. The first memory I have of it was her starting and making jewelry. And so she would set up in the living room and be making earrings and chains and bracelets, and then she would go out and sell them, and then I would get something out of it. So I'm like, man, make that jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my first experience of seeing it. So
Absolutely.
A little bit.
Yeah. So this is why I like doing the show too, and kind of digging in, because sometimes we have those aha moments like, yeah, you know what? I did kind of see something to that effect, and whatever you've done and your spinoff to it is where you are now, which is, again, the janitorial services. And you're actually running that out of the Bay Area as well now in Las Vegas, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Right, so you've expanded.
Yep. So all the company, or majority of my clients are in the Bay Area. Started in 2010, so you can imagine quite a few clients there. And then I have a general manager that runs it. And so, I manage the general manager. Then we moved to Vegas. My wife and I and my 7-year-old daughter moved to Vegas in 2020, right before the pandemic. Talk about a headache. So I've been expanding to Vegas as well. So yeah.
Absolutely. So I mean, that's for you to be able to kind of move your family with the business to Las Vegas, and this is something I did, and it was the scariest thing ever. So I started the business in the Bay Area. I just figured like it's a hop, skip, and a jump to the Bay Area to go back and forth. What brought you to the Vegas though? What's your business in the Bay Area?
Well, the quality of life of where I was living in the Bay Area versus where I'm living in Vegas is drastically different. The income goes so much further, and then the tax benefits. A lot of entrepreneurs realize that when
Yes.
they move here, the tax benefits are amazing compared to California. So, quite a few things that brought me here. The weather, and then my wife and I, we are outgoing. We like to venture out and party. So,
Yeah.
what better place than Vegas? So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
This is a party place for yes.
Yeah.
This is a
And we're getting a little older now.
Right.
The partying has slowed down quite a bit. But 6 years ago, it was like, man, we here.
Right.
So,
And I feel like you moved here right before I did. I moved
okay.
out here for that as well, to have an entertainment like in my backyard or when I walked out of my house to have that entertainment to be able to do stuff. And what I found though in entertainment is it's more so than just there's not just nightclubs. For me, I love the arts out here. Some
Yeah.
people are like, I don't feel like there's arts. If you born and raised in certain parts of the Bay Area, San Francisco, Berkeley, you're gonna get the arts and things like that. But I came out here and it's so many people looking. And I don't know if this is like a LA thing too, but so many people trying to get into entertainment
Yeah.
because it's the entertainment capital of the world.
Yeah.
And so that I found so much when I came out here.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
love Vegas. I don't regret it. The only thing we talk about is like we wish we would have moved sooner.
Yeah. Who you telling?
It's
The
my new
prices.
home. I finally broke down, got a Nevada license. I'm
Oh,
a
really?
resident now.
14 days in, I changed my
Really?
ID over. 14 days. I
Oh,
was like,
no.
goodbye,
I
California.
was so resistant because I wanted to hold on to a piece of my East Oakland.
I'm all about discounts. Let me tell you, you get
Yeah.
discounts, parking discounts, and everything else. So I was like, oh, you get one person told me if you have a Nevada ID, you get a discount, like day 5 here. And I was like, oh, bet.
So funny
Day 14.
story. I was my buddy was having a birthday get together, and the establishment that we went to, you had to have a Nevada license to get in, and I didn't have one at the time, so they left me at the door.
Oh, no.
And I couldn't get in. I was like, all right, maybe I should. Maybe I
You
should
here.
switch over.
Commit.
Maybe I
Commit.
should switch
We can move anywhere else. You can also just get another ID. It's not like
Right.
we're getting a passport, giving up our like citizenship,
right.
right? And I think that's what it feels like
It-
though for some people.
Giving up a piece of myself.
Yeah, my phone number is still 925 though.
I do have a 510 number.
Yeah, it's
Yeah. That part I'm
yeah,
not changing.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm not doing the
You
702.
can reach me. You can reach me.
Yeah.
That's good. So I want to get in more into the businesses that you have started, and again, the different mindsets that you were in when you're starting. So janitorial business. Why did you start a janitorial business versus going into something totally different?
Yeah. So, like Malcolm X said, Plymouth Rock, we didn't land on it; it landed on us. I did not go into janitorial; it got into me.
Mhm.
Pause. So back in 2009, I was working a job and I wasn't really happy there. So I put my 2-week notice in, and I started a personal assistant agency. And part of that agency, I look back on it now, I'm like, man, I was almost like Uber before Uber. So I would give people rides, take people to the airport and stuff, but I just didn't have the resources to grow it as fast as Uber grew Uber. But in that time, bills were mounting up. I had 2 kids at the time that I had to provide for. It just got to where like I needed to just make money. So I went on the Craigslist, started answering ads for like odd jobs. One of them ended up being house cleaning. So I just started doing house cleaning, got kind of good at it. Started working for this guy. He owned a house cleaning company. I was a sub under him. Through that, I just learned the game through him, and I'm just like, I can do this on my own. So one day I told him I'd be going on my own. I'm not going to take any more jobs from him. Branched out, did it myself, and it just boom. And then the house cleaning turned into commercial. And then once the commercial dollars hit, it was like, oh,
yeah. I'm not going back.
yeah. So,
Yeah, this is it. Yeah.
But it was a journey though. You gotta, now you got employees. Employees always have car issues when they got, the kid is sick from school. They can't make it to work. So now you got to learn staffing. And now you're basically a staffing agency at this point. You got to learn client relations while also prospecting. And so it's tough until you realize like, oh, I need to build a team. I can't be a solopreneur. I got to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
And then there's levels with that. So the best way I describe it is like for our generation, the younger generation might not understand this, but it's like playing Super Mario. The first one that came out, there's different levels, and each level has a boss. And until you defeat that boss, you're just going to die and die and die. until you
Right.
finally figure out how to beat the
Shrink every
boss.
once in a while.
Shrink every
Shrink
once in
every
a
once
while
in- yeah.
till you get to the next level. And
Mhm.
then there's challenges at that level. So
Mhm.
you never really, there's no destination.
Mhm.
You're just continuously on a journey, and there's new obstacles and new coins and mystery boxes, and
Absolutely.
you just keep going, and you never actually beat the game.
Yeah, I love how you led into what that, the next generation or even the generation after this generation, what it looks like. There's so many entrepreneurs. Some people were forced into entrepreneurship, and
Hmm.
it sounds like you were kind of in that. If you had a job and it was stable, it takes us longer if we're happy or comfortable in a job.
Hmm.
It takes people longer. I've seen, especially on the show for even myself, to actually get up and move. It
Hmm.
took something happening and me saying, "Oh, I need to figure out something else." Or I got to figure this out for myself. And let me try something else. I wasn't happy in the job I was in for me to stop to get into HR for myself.
Hmm.
But I was like, if they can do it, then why not I? Let me try it. And what's the worst case?
What's the
Worst
worst?
case.
And that was one of the things too. What I was thinking when I left is like, at the end of the day, like I can probably get another job. Like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? So it's like, even if I fail, I'll land right back here.
Right.
And one thing that in many aspects of my life, I never want a what if, and so it's like, okay, I'll go out, I'll do it. Whatever happens, at least I won't wake up later in life and be like, man, what if I would have tried that? I did try it.
Right.
And whether it works or not or whatever happens, I tried it. I
Right.
gave it my all, and I know the answer, and I can live with that. What I can't live with is like looking back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. You tried to work for somebody else
I
in
tried
the
that
in the
too.
cleaning business, and what happened? You ended up with your own career,
Yeah,
right? Your
yeah,
own business that you
yeah,
end up starting.
yeah,
That the learning while you're on the job is the biggest thing ever.
yeah.
I talk about this all the time. For people like to be in a job and complain and be upset, I'm all think about the value of what they're doing. They are paying you to train you. I
Yeah.
say that all, and like I want to keep that out there. Just if you, and it's a mentality switch. If you say that I'm getting paid to get trained on what it is that I'm doing, take it for that. If it's not paid what you feel you're worth, get the knowledge and then move on.
Move on. And I think when I did it, mind you, again, this was 2010. I was like 27, 28 years old. Don't do the math on that.
Mm.
So I was like making 40, maybe $50,000 a year at the time. So I'm like, now if you're leaving a job, you're making 250. Okay, I can understand why you have a little hesitation of leaving. But I would just say, maybe scale back on your day-to-day expenses and maybe get a little nest egg going and then go and do it. But at 40, 50,000 a year, I mean, come on, that's like $4,000 a month.
Right.
Like you'll be all right. You can
Right.
you can generate that.
You can
You
generate,
can
yeah,
generate that.
absolutely. And just figure out what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. There's a lot
Mhm.
of hurdles that, as you and I both started a business around the same time. So starting the business around then, learning throughout the years,
Yep.
what you didn't know 5 years
Yep.
ago and 10 years, whatever it is, there's all these learning
Taxes.
opportunities. And yes,
Taxes.
yeah, oh yeah.
Taxes
Well,
will be, yeah.
yeah.
Everything else you can figure out. Taxes is like, whoa. By the time you find out, it's usually too late.
Yeah, and people said that was the biggest warning I got earlier on. Say, put money aside for your taxes. Work with a tax preparer. And when
Yeah.
when you're used to a company taking the taxes and you don't get to see it, you see it maybe if you get a tax return and get some money back or something like that. But if you're not really paying attention to that part of it, and then all of a sudden you now have to pay 10, 20, $30,000 a quarter, just make sure you pay them that. It is hard to be like, here you go.
Yeah. Especially when you're not even profitable to begin with. This is
At
like,
the
where
very
is this
beginning,
coming
right.
from? How am I going to eat?
Yes. How am I
So
going to make this up and make sense
I
of
did
this?
not
But-
have a tax advice before I started. So yeah, I
and most of us
learned,
don't. So that's
yeah, the
key.
hard way.
Find you a tax preparer. Find you someone that's going to give you some tax advice.
Yes. Yes.
That is definitely key for what we're doing right now. I mean, taxes, but then also this just the things when the market shifts. So for
Yeah.
me, I started right before COVID
Mhm.
and started to get my groove right during COVID because it was hybrid and everybody needed a hybrid HR person.
Right.
So I get out of there. My original business plan was for me to just be the in and out. I'm just going to here to help you and I'm going to move on to the next client. And in my mind, in my heart, I was like, that's okay. If you move on, that's what it's supposed to be.
Mhm.
But when COVID happened and it slowed people down to where they weren't shifting and finding HR people fast enough or they weren't trying to hire anyone, I ended up staying with clients for 3, 4, 5 years. That was never the plan. And now here we are on the other side of that. I have to shift my business structure a little bit, and you probably have to do some stuff like that because of the clean. I mean, it might have been opposite because what were you cleaning when no one was in the office
I remember the day.
that day? So what is happening now is people are now shifting to where they get someone HR wise to get them set up, and within the year, they are looking to switch over and find an in-house person. So I'm like,
Oh wow.
okay. So
Yeah.
I have my turnover to find new clients has to be faster.
Faster, yeah.
And I have to understand they're going to leave faster. They
Yeah.
need us to just for less time. It's not 18 plus months. It is about 12 to 18 months.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Janitorial, not like that. The last thing a building manager wants to do is go out sourcing janitorial contracts, right? So once they find you and you service them correctly, they'll stay with you pretty. I think I've had clients since my second year in business. I'm still, but I mean, obviously, like any company, I've lost clients as well. Sometimes it's due to things that are out of their control. Like I've had clients where I have multiple locations that ended up going with a national vendor. I can't control that.
Right.
I can't service you in Nebraska. So, I understand. And when they find a national provider, they can do it dirt cheap, right? Because they're playing the volume game.
Right.
And, I can't do that. And I'm not the cheapest. I'm definitely the Neiman Barney's of janitorial. But I will also make sure that my product is Neiman Barney's quality.
Right.
So, janitorial is not a high turnover, especially if you can not become friends with the building manager, but like if you can make it more than just business, right? A more relational transaction. They'll stay with you pretty long. Now the problem is when they go to another company and then someone else steps in and then they have a relationship.
They want to evaluate the
They
cost.
want to evaluate. They want to call, or they want to go with the provider they had at their previous stop that they have a relationship with. Those are kind of the things that you run into, and I'll try to jump in as quick as possible
and
but
get the relationship going.
If they've been working with these people for 10 years,
they're going to bring them in, no problem, no brainer. Right?
Ain't nothing you can do.
Happens in every industry, and that's just something for I think everyone should think about that because it's always that new person coming in, or you're happy, you're excited. I mean, for me, I get to meet them. In your case, you're not meeting the new employees or the new facilities manager, for instance, or operation, whoever is your lead. But for me, I typically get to meet the new CEO, the new CFO, the new operations person. Right. I get to meet them, and they're where I'm like trying to get in good, but they're just like, okay, I just met you, but hey, I'm in a new building. I'm just waiting to get my so I pay attention in that first 3 to 6 months because that's what they're doing. They're getting their feet. Evaluating things, getting their feet wet in the business before they toss out the old and bring in the new if they would like to. And it doesn't have to do with the service, the quality, the price, anything. It's the relationship.
Yep. It's all relationship based.
That's the hard part.
And if it's towards the end of the fiscal year and they're taking bids and
absolutely pay attention to those. But on the flip side, you are that person sometimes where somebody is going to take you with them to that next business.
And it happens all the time too. So
there's enough of that.
It's enough of it. And it's just part of the business. Like the more you just accept this is what it is, you can learn how to play the game. If you start trying to change the inevitable, that's when you start having headaches and stressed out and
push
anxiety.
And pull, right. The emotional pull.
You're gonna have people that bring you with them, and then you're gonna have people that end the relationship with you because they have someone, and that's just part of it. Just make sure you're always bringing in new,
right,
to refill that pipeline.
Absolutely. I know. Well, we dug into the businesses, but I also know you do other businesses and side quests, and you keep things going. I think that's really important to just keep diversifying your businesses, which is what we all want to do, just in case.
And adding on to those existing businesses, right? Like not so much starting a whole new business, but with the janitorial case, there have been times where I've tried to throw in like car washes at the facility for the employees, right? That's cleaning related, right. Things of that nature, of starting other branches within your business, not going janitorial and then, I think I want to go, something just
sell mops.
Yeah, it's just like what? So
it's I'm gonna sell the mops though. Now I'm gonna make them. I'm gonna make the mops and I'm gonna sell them.
What?
Slow down. It does happen. I mean, all the people who have different brandings, the Martha Stewarts, if you will, of the world, who have seasonings, pots, pans, and everything else. But it goes hand in hand, right, into living. Yeah. So that's very good. But I want to segue into
The
into
good stuff.
the good
The
side.
good stuff.
This is the stuff, but again, this is all good for someone who is starting their business and wants to know stuff. And
Absolutely.
I have people reach out to me all the time asking me like, how did I start the business? How did I get clients and things like that? So I always want to touch on the business side, right?
To let's transition, but to that question right there, how did you get started? I just always tell everybody, just do it. Guts, just do it. There is no like, oh, go to the Secretary of State and get your LLC and bro, just go. And before you do all of that, let's just take apparel right? Just sell one shirt first. Don't spend thousands on a logo and not a Shopify account. Sell one shirt and just see if you can even do that before you start spending money on inventory and have boxes. Sell one shirt first.
What are you talking about, Kenny? You saw those boxes in my garage.
Can you sell one shirt first?
Absolutely. But with that, let's talk about the support and things like that. So starting the business is one of the things to where and we're going to get into this because you're a man, and I'm going to say that we all need someone strong in our background, but a man wants to be able to uphold that household and hold it together and things like that, and make sure it's working out. So you starting this business, and you have your wife who's so supporting of what you're doing. But what was that like, starting this business and being able to reach over to lean over to her, or was it more so like, I got this, you don't have to worry about it? Yeah. Until the one day, and I'm saying, because I know men end up having to do like, okay, baby, I need you to just tell me I'm gonna be all right.
Yeah. So I started this company before I met Autumn.
Okay.
So she wasn't there.
Yes. Oh, she wasn't there.
She wasn't there.
Okay. She wasn't there.
But I did have a strong, like, my parents are so supportive of anything. Like, I could be like, Mom, Dad, I want to build a shoe that'll launch us into space. And they'll be like, all right, what you need? Like, what do you need? I believe you. So amazing. My parents were like, or they'll be the first to, like, I started in house cleaning. They'll be the first one, like, oh, you can send them here. You can clean the house, like, so I always had my parents to support me. They're always my biggest cheerleaders. So when I started this in 2010, that was my support system there that just kept me going. And, if I needed extra money, or if I needed some supplies, they would be there or if I just needed an encouraging word, or they would tell their friends, and spread the word of mouth. They've tried to bring me into their jobs, which hasn't always happened because of conflict of interest, but they're always trying. Like, any way they can help me, they're always trying. Now, once I did meet Autumn, man, I mean, she's right there, like my parents. I mean, she's never, ever given me you got this much time to make it work. She's never given me, it's not making enough money, or never. It's always been, you can do it, keep going. How can I help you? Honestly, the largest account I ever had was through Autumn.
Yes.
So, awesome. I have to give her credit for that. And I mean, no, she's always, get you a good one.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it makes a huge difference when you're not worried about, like, your wife leaving you or causing you more stress or questioning you, or just go, here's your lunch, go.
Yeah, especially when you came from such a supportive family, for you to be able to get into a situation where someone's on the edge all the time, whatever that, everyone has different life stories and things like that. And we talked about that in our show together, but to, for your story, is whatever your background was not the same background she had. So,
correct.
Getting someone to match that, even if they didn't have that same background, and just want that support and want to be in a supportive relationship and situation. I would like to be able to talk to more men about the emotional side of it and emotional intelligence. I know they have a lot more podcasts out right now where men are all getting together in the barbershop or something like that, talking, I'm not another man. But
sacred conversation.
I don't need all the details. I don't need all the juicy details. We're not going to get into all that.
I can't let out all the secrets.
Right. They're going to be like, you sold out.
Yeah, man, you can't come back here.
Right.
I'm bald anyway.
But to be able to, just kind of pour into, I mean, again, us, you and I are having a conversation. You and I we also are friends, all together, like family friends in a way. But to be able to have the conversations that are just more so like what does it take to have, to support your person, to have a supporting wife? And then what does a man need, when you want to be vulnerable? And I don't know if the right word is vulnerable, whatever the word is, because they might not, the dudes might not say that, but I'm a woman, so I'm gonna be a woman.
What does it take for us to
Be
keep it
vulnerable.
real?
Keep a real
Keep it
one,
real?
and yeah.
Okay. Man, that's a good question, T. That's a good question. I can only speak from my experience, right? So I'm not speaking for all men. I'm just speaking for me.
He trying not to get in trouble so bad.
It just got to be safe. It just has to be a safe space. So when I first got with Autumn, again, I already had the business, right? And we kind of got together at a time where, all businesses are up and down, but I was like trending downward. But I came in with such high promise to her of like, this is where we're at, this is what we're doing, look at this, and she's, I don't know what she was thinking, but in her mind, I would imagine she's like, wow. But then like it quickly changed and I was like on the downward trajectory, but I would never tell her because I was scared of what she may think or that she would leave me or it would be not safe for her to be with a man who's not financially stable at the moment. It's all, but it actually caused me more anxiety because now I'm like chasing money. I'm losing sleep. I'm lightweight living on like a double life financially, right? Taking her places I clearly can't afford, burning the credit card, right? And so, one day I just went to her and I was like, man, look, like it got to a point where it's like I need a couple dollars, right? And she was like, well, what's going on? I told her, she was like, well, why didn't you tell me this 6 months ago? And I'm like, I was scared. And she was like, promise me you'll never do this again. Like you never have to be scared with me.
Yeah.
Like, we're in this together. Like we'll figure it out together. Here's the money, but like, I don't even care. I'm not saying promise we'll never be in this position again. Promise me you won't keep this from me again. And so ever since then, like open book, like, hey, this is where we're at. This is we're good, we're bad, we're, medium, whatever. But I never have to keep a secret from her. So I would say for me, I just need that safety. Yeah. That like I can be myself without judgment.
Right. And the question for me, this is a question I want to ask. I don't know if other women want to know the same thing, but question for, is that based on because of a past experience?
Of course. We're all a bucket of trauma.
Okay.
We're all a bucket of trauma.
It could be lived experience or it could be just the fear of the unknown. So there's two ways to
So like I've been in relationships and, I'm not going to put anybody out there. I'm cool with everybody.
I don't want to know.
Yeah. So I've had relationships where it was like, I'm making more than the woman and it's like, well, you need to go make more money. And it's like, it'd be nice if like,
step up a little bit, help out.
I've been in positions where it's been like, well, I'm not working. So what are you going to do? And it's like, man, okay. So yes, trauma from the past, fear of judgment, ego. Like I am a man. So my ego of like, man, I can't provide. Right. All of those things do come into play. Autumn just did a great job of taking all that off the table. And so I feel safe. I feel, what's the new buzzword? I hate this. I feel seen.
Right.
And I feel, you know what I feel? I feel loved unconditionally.
Yeah.
I think it all boils down to I feel loved unconditionally.
To just be who you are.
To be who I am. And she's going to love me regardless.
And that's what we need. Yeah. That's what we all need. And here's the thing, and that's a relationship, dynamics. Yeah. Now what you're doing is spilling it over to your daughter and your kids in general, right? For whatever the situations were before, it's now you're spilling that love over and what your kids see, the affection, the conversations, arguments or lack thereof, how they're being perceived in front of it, in the kids' eyes is what you're able to give them based on, like you have in somebody you trust and you can be vulnerable and like, okay, this is rough, but you and I know this now, and we don't have to stress our kid out about it.
Yeah, right. And let's not be struggling often. Like, let's put safeguards in place. Yeah, yes. But life happens, man. Life happens. Emergencies happen. I got 4 daughters. Things happen out of your control, and you can try to put as much in a nest egg as you think you possibly need, and God will be like, ha.
Got a little something else for you.
We got another prom. We got another, it's just like, okay, so.
Yeah. So living with those, the life expenses, and I'm not just talking about the money, it's the, the expense on time, energy. And patience.
Because
that's really,
I've developed a lot of patience. kids.
Well,
Having
four
a
women.
wife,
Or five. That's five women. Well,
four
and your mama.
daughters, my mama,
Yep.
the mother of my first two kids.
Yes. Yes. A lot of
And I grew up in a very barbaric male dominant household. My mom, my dad, and then I have two brothers. So it was four men.
Okay.
One. So I grew up the exact opposite, where it was a lot of testosterone.
I was just about to ask, was it because you were around a lot of women to start off, but it's opposite?
Played football. I've been around a lot of testosterone.
Yeah.
A lot of, and then I grew up in the 80s. So even in my own house growing up, emotions weren't like something you show. Like you don't, I grew up in a very, dust it off. Don't let them see you weak. I grew up in that. So, and then you go into a football locker room and bro, you ain't no crying.
No.
It's a very bully, toxic environment.
Right.
It's very alpha male environment. So that's how I grew up. My best friends to this day, we all met by talking about each other. Like
talking mess.
Yeah.
Talking junk in the locker room. Yeah.
And now we're like best friends, right? And so, or even guys like I've had fights with, we end up being like buddies after. It's like, all right, okay, you tough.
Right, right. You got me.
So to then have four daughters, a wife, the mother of my first two kids, is my mom. It's patience was not something that came easy to me, but it is something I'm working on daily.
Yeah, and I have to give most of the credit into your parents, right?
Yeah.
Your upbringing, where you came from, because I can only imagine. I mean, everyone can stray a different way. Your parents could teach you one thing, you could be totally opposite, but it
100%.
looks like you blended the best of both in all sides of your world to be able to give back to somebody. Have you always been the dedication you have, and this is not to compare relationships at all,
No.
the dedication that you have, like this, just growing up, did you have the same emphasis in wanting to be a caregiver and a loving husband? And was that from childhood and you seeing it with your parents? Because your parents are still together. Which is a blessing. But did you see it growing up with your parents, and that's why you were like, I want to have a wife, kids? Or was there some time where you were just like, this is life. I'm going to live my life?
Well, unfortunately,
I'm not going to assume.
Unfortunately, I decided to live life while I was in my first marriage. So that didn't work out very well. But I was young. I was in my early 20s. Like we've all agreed at this point that like we probably just shouldn't have been married that early in life. So there's no bad blood there. We're both healed from it. So, but I do think I was molded to be a family man. Even in the brief stints that I was out there philandering in the world, it never like felt right. Like I always would end up leaving empty. But growing up with the rap music, in the sports locker rooms, in the neighborhood, it's all about like, how many do you have, right? And I remember times with my friends, like we would literally do stuff just to have a higher number.
Yes. I was like,
than each other, right?
See, I'm not in the men's locker room now.
So if my buddy would be like, I'm at X number, and I'd be like, oh man, I got two more to go.
That's what you guys talk about? What else?
Well, when I was in my 20s.
Okay. Well, yeah, of course not
when
now,
I was in my
but
20s.
I'm saying that's what you guys used to
But
talk
yeah,
about?
like our whole goal was to just have the highest number as possible and outnumber each other. But it never felt right for me. Like I always felt empty, but I was just doing what I was taught to do by society, right? Which is why I was always in relationships, but acting single. And then you just get to a point where like, now you're divorced, or now you're leaving this long-term relationship. And for me, the way it worked out is I always had to like start over financially every time I left a relationship. Obviously, if you're both on the lease, as the man, you're going to get kicked out, right? Like you're not going to kick her out.
With the kid.
Yeah, or even if you don't have kids, it's like, now you got to go find an apartment. Now you got to go find, So it just got to a point where it was like, I'm not starting over anymore. And then through life experiences, right, I don't regret any of it. I wouldn't take it back. And in fact, if I had to do it all over, I'd do it the exact same way because it led me to Autumn. But also when I got with Autumn, I knew like what I didn't want anymore. And I didn't want drama. I didn't want to argue. I didn't want to start over.
Mhm.
I didn't want to raise a kid in a separate house again. So then I knew like I needed to change some things. But she has also made it easier for me to change those things. So, and then I've been there for her. I've heard her story and, some of the things she's been through. And like, I just don't want to put her through that.
Yeah.
So, it all, like, nothing's by mistake. It's all by
Mhm.
design. And it all led me to like right here where I'm at right now. And so, like I said, if I had to do it all over again, I'd do it all over again.
Yeah,
The exact
absolutely.
same way.
Did it take I mean, was it just that to me it sounds like just that easy or did it take some coaching
No,
or therapy?
yeah,
And I mean,
lots. Lots.
I'm trying to get to there, but
Yeah,
did it, what did it take for you
yeah.
to kind of other than like yes, you wanted to do something different, but what was that progress for you? I
Yeah.
mean, did you just wake up?
No, I mean, I think part of it is like when you burned your hand on the stove, what did it take for you to not want to burn your hand on the stove?
Right.
The pain of burning your hand on the
Mhm.
stove, right? So I remember literally, I'll give you a story, literally on my 30th birthday, that day I woke up, I looked in the mirror and I was like, bro, you got to stop. Like, you got to stop. Like, what you're doing is not garnering the fruit that you want. Like, you
Mhm.
have to change something. And so from that day, the quest began. I had a good friend he's still my good friend, but at that time, Jeremiah Captain came in. We began to get closer, and he started getting me reading books again. And so I read How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, and that changed the trajectory of
Mm.
everything. I learned how to like stop being a jerk. I learned how to have conversations with people and actually listen, and really how to just like take myself out of the equation and be more curious or be more interested than I try to be interesting.
Yes.
And that changed everything. So from there, and then from there, it was, reading just a plethora of books that were just like, okay, I actually want to be a good
Yeah.
person. Like, and then it started to garner the fruit that I wanted. And I was like, okay, let's go this way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you're saying to me, I love this because what you're saying is you didn't because I was thinking the line of going to therapy, you and your wife going to therapy,
No.
you worked on you. And
Yeah.
that's to me so much more pivotal. You're like, I'm gonna work on me, so I'm, how they say that then you're gonna be able to attract the people
So I
into your
was gonna
life.
say that like the hard truth that nobody wants to hear, but it just is the hard truth in this, especially in dating. And my wife has a lot of friends. I have girl partners and stuff, and like nobody wants to hear, but it really is the truth. You attract who you are. So if you keep attracting,
Jerks. Yeah. You're like, ooh,
you got to look in the mirror,
yeah.
right? And so the fact that I met Autumn when I met her, I had started to do the work to be able to attract someone like her,
Mhm.
for it to be someone she was attracted to. And then from there, because neither one of us were perfect or are perfect, I do believe we're perfect for each other,
Mhm.
but as just individuals, we're not perfect. But it would allowed us to come together and then grow together because I
Mhm.
feel like we were on the same plane and then we wanted to go to the same place. And I mean, even to this day, like we've made drastic changes to both our personalities to where it's like it's crazy. But yeah, no, I had already
Mhm.
started doing the work. And no, it was not overnight. And I just wake up one day and I was a change. No, this
Yeah.
is like decades
Yeah.
upon years of work, like, and still working because I'm still not who I want to be.
Eventually, that is looking. Let me tell you, that is in itself golden, like
Yeah.
a golden nugget for
Yeah.
all of us. Because we talk about it all the time, where you just like, well, he and she, and pointing fingers, and if we put it on ourselves and be like, what can I change in myself?
Yeah.
And maybe if I change something, and I see it within myself as I've grown and changed, the relationships, whether it be friends, family members. I'm gonna say it again, family
It's
members.
the
I'm gonna say it
hardest
again
one.
because those are the hardest
It's the
ones for
hardest
me.
one.
No matter what, I have basically pulled myself out of situations that cause me to either stress or to feel angst when I'm around them, or when I go back to the old me
Yes.
automatically around them. That's something I need to work on. They don't do it. They're not triggering me.
Mm-mm.
And
Or forcing
I
you.
used to say that people are triggered. They're
Mm-mm.
my triggers, and I'm like, no, I need to work on that.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're just being themselves. They're
Mm-hmm.
doing the stuff they would normally do. I go back, and so for me, it's funny because moving away from California, I have those things where I came to Vegas with this different, like, I'm going to do everything different. And then I sat with myself, I'm like, but I'm not.
But I'm not different.
I'm not different.
Yes.
And I had to continue. This is the last 4 years of still working on
Yep.
who I am,
Yep.
not Tanisha the mom, not Tanisha the, whatever it was,
Yeah.
the sister, the cousin, whatever it is. I am Tanisha by myself
Yep.
in a city that I moved to by myself.
And you will learn who you are.
And I made mistakes
Yeah.
in, assuming. And again, I love what you said. I want to highlight some of the things you said when you said it, but I love what you said about being interested instead of interesting.
Yes.
Because I found I'm like, I'm interesting. I got a lot of stuff going on.
I'm from the Bay, and I'm this, and that. Guess where I was last week?
Here's my business card. You know what I mean? I'm here. Like, no, I just want to be, and I'm getting more and more into that because my automatic was to be interesting because I'm very new. No one knows me. I can come out here and be any character I want to be. Wear my mask.
Yep.
That's my mask.
Yep.
Because when I'm in this house, I'm like, that was a bunch of bull.
Mm-hmm.
Like, seriously, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm drained.
And
when
it's
I
like,
get home.
why didn't they call me? Why didn't?
Right. Why don't they want to hang out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't like my representative?
Yeah. Right. They didn't like that mask I had on.
Yeah.
So it's being quieter in rooms. And again, it was more so because I was I was quieter in the Bay. I was just trying to prove with, working in school because I had kids and all this stuff like that. I'm like, now, no, this is who I am. Like, that's not who you are. You still are working on who you really are outside of everything else.
And I got to give credit to Autumn to that too. Is like, she literally allows me to be me, like to the ugliest, dirtiest, funniest, like the depths of husband, wife. She lets me be me.
That's amazing.
And I reciprocate. And there are things that make both of us cringe. Like, ooh, that hurt. But it's like, but I want my wife to be my wife. I want her to be her because she'll show up better. When she comes home, she'll show up better, right? And I think that's key to our marriage too, is like down to the like, yeah. She lets me be me and I let her be her, and it just somehow it just works.
That is awesome. We've definitely had a bunch of different conversations going on here, but I definitely want to continue these conversations. But I want us to lead with a couple of different things. One, and that inspiration for someone else. One, it's your career base. Again, our main topic is too skilled to fail, and I use that as a main platform just because we have the wins, we have losses, we keep on trying, we keep on getting up. There's a lot of chaos going on in the world in general. So I'd love for you to share any like nuggets you have, whether it be on the relationship front or the business front for inspiration. This is a wild card question. I get it. But for you to be able to share anything that you feel that is best for the young entrepreneurs, that young man coming up, and finding love and finding himself, that brotherhood that you can share. It's not a fraternity. You can actually share this stuff.
Nah, it's always bros before.
Okay, got it. Okay, so we got it. So anything you want to like to share, I'd love for you to impart on.
Well, one, I love the title "Too Skilled to Fail." I think everyone is created to do something. I think everyone has a gift. It's just about finding that gift and developing that gift. But everyone is too skilled to fail. Secondly, just go out and live life, man. Don't take it too. I mean, honestly, like none of us get out of here alive, So don't take it too serious. Go have fun. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with those you interact with. Once you're able to be honest with yourself and others, you'll be so surprised like how many people want the same thing as you, right? And so that was one of the hardest things I had to learn too. Is there's a community for everything. Whatever you're into, like if you just be honest about it, you'll find that community and you'll be embracing. You live free, you lose weight, you lose the stress off your shoulders. So just be honest and just go for it. Like whatever it is you want to do, like it doesn't even have to be financial. It could be in a relationship. It could be trying a new diet. It could be trying a new workout plan or dressing, whatever it is, like just go for it and just be you, because the world can always benefit from who you are.
Yeah. Thank you. I like that. What's in store for this next chapter of Kenny and Autumn, Kenny and family, Kenny and friends, Kenny and podcast?
Yeah.
What's next?
Yeah, I got a lot of things going on. Definitely starting my podcast. That's what's up. We'll be airing our first episode on my birthday, March 12th. So tune in. You can find it at That's What's Up TV at YouTube. You can also find us on social media. That's What's Up TV on Instagram. So I'm really excited about that. Been podcasting since 2020. Started off very regionally doing Oakland athletes, but now branching off and doing more nationwide athletes and more professional athletes. So excited about that. Autumn and I, man, we're just continuing to grow, develop roots here in Las Vegas. If you ever see us out and about, definitely say hi. We don't bite. Very friendly people. And you probably get a free drink out of us too. So just come up to us and say hi. But other than that, man, just continuing to be a great dad, a great husband, great person, great friend. Appreciate you having me. And just excited about life and what it has to come. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to. You're in the right place. We have so many sports teams here in the area, so your podcast I know will take off, and I'm looking forward to like watching and then keeping it kind of in the peripheral because there's so many people that we kind of can mix and mingle
Mhm.
together within our businesses. So if you're ever looking for, A's will be here in 2 years.
I'm excited.
So
I'm
we
an
got
Oakland boy. So
2 years. Okay, so we got the A's in here in 2 years, and you have all these other teams. So
yeah.
making your show what it is to make sure you guys talk about the bro stuff that you won't share with me.
I got your back, fellas. I didn't let too much out the vault.
Thank you so much,
Appreciate
Kenny.
it.
And we will keep this conversation going offline. Checking us out. Thank you all.